This is a podcast or something like that.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Verbal Journal Podcast, episode 91. That's right, it's been 91 episodes. Can I get a check on that? Am I allowed to check? You know, there used to be like, you can't check. Of course I know it was right though. Why did I check? Next time I will not check. Okay, and you are my accountability, listener and viewer. Please write into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know if you are a listener or a viewer. You know, like people would like a podcast come up with like the most like simple thing, asking you to like comment or email about. Like, let me know what you think about that, you know. I am proud to say that I'm back again. Sunday, and it's time to talk. It's time to give that verbal journality that we all crave and that's so dire in these heavy times. It must be weird to like not be like, do conservatives and like right-wing people, do they say like in these trying times if Obama's in office or something, or like if they live in like, I don't know, like Brazil right now, I guess, and Lula's in office, like Do they, or is that just a liberal Democrat thing, being like in these trying times, you know, how are you doing? Welcome to the Verbal Journal Podcast. This is another episode. I mentioned that. What else did I want to say? There was something I wanted to say. I look pretty good, right? I mean, you know, I came up with it. What? I don't think that's in the contract. What else? Oh yeah, so the chair, okay. They gave me a chair back. That's pretty cool. You know, last episode I was obviously lying down. Can we pull that up? Those were the public episodes. I was lying down, for the last episode. And there was a sort of couch-like thing there, but I wasn't allowed to use it. I was given the chair back through extensive union negotiations. We were able to just kind of come to an agreement about the chair. I'm not allowed to sit in it. I'm not allowed to quote sit in it was the word used. That's the terminology used in the master services agreement that we came to. I don't know who's the master in that situation. I don't know if it's me or them, but I am kneeling. You know what I'm saying? I'm kneeling. So, and then I'll just say it. The outfit, I actually did get a fashion person. I didn't come up with it on my own. I'm not allowed to say I came up with them on my own, but it was an unrelated but somewhat related agreement that I came into with the new fashion person. I was like, are you a department? They're like, I'm a person. I'm like, okay, you're the fashion person. And then that was sort of an unrelated but related agreement to the, I could have a chair, but I can't sit in it. I can have a fashion person, but I have to mention them. So, you win some, you lose some, but I do look very cool. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know what I mean? I didn't even know that this was the style that people wore. That shows how out of the loop I was. The fashion person was like, are you kidding me? Like, you are so out of style. So, he got me this, like, this is a hoodie that I've already had. He didn't get me that. He just pulled it out from my closet. And then he gave me, this is part of I think I pay for it, and I think I pay for supplies. So, like, me personally, not even the podcast. I don't know how they work that out, where like the podcast hires a fashion person, but then their employee, me, the talent, is supposed to pay that fashion person independently? Wouldn't you think we're coworkers and my employer is going to pay them? But okay, so I'm supposed to pay them, and then I have to buy the shirt that they give me? You would think that the agreement would be different, is what I'm saying, especially with a union. Wow, 19 views on a private episode is probably the best we've ever gotten, actually. But letting the cards fall where they may, I did get this cool outfit, and now I know that this is what people are doing now. They're doing a button down on top of a hoodie. So, hood up is what I was told explicitly. So, that's cool. And, the chair thing is fine. As long as I get, everything was totally rattled last time. I thought it was going to be relaxing to lie down, and I didn't realize how that would make most of the rest of doing a podcast more difficult. So in some ways, that's not relaxing, you could say. Cool. Quick roundup there. Accomplished. So yeah, the podcast was telling me, we need to give you a chair, apparently, because you're making us look bad. That was what they said. They said, you're making us look bad, so we'll give you a chair. And I was like, ow, that hurts my feelings when you talk to me like that. And they were like, sorry. They pointed in my face really angrily, and they went, sorry. I'm really sorry that I did that. I'm like, what? This is sort of like the alliteration sort of mind game gaslighting thing I was talking about last time. But this is a different one where they act really angry, but then they say something sort of, soothing and resolving. They're like, I'm really sorry that I did that. I'm like, whoa, okay. So I get that I was making them look bad, though, because they did look bad. They looked bad to me temporarily. And that was a crazy thing for me, to question my employer and to question what their motives were and how they were carrying those motives out. That was a really weird thing for me to feel. Because you know me, if you've listened to a lot of these episodes, I'm just sort of a go with the flow kind of guy. I just, live and let live as far as employee-employer relationship goes. So this would have been a thing to probably just have me, be the full screen, I guess. But yeah, part of the agreement was also they get to put a plant even more prominently right there, and also there. I don't know. I can't win them all. I recognize that. I'm just going to do my best here. Oh yeah. The other thing I wanted to say just about that episode, and let me pull it back up. It was the reason I had it pulled up, actually.
Going quiet.
Sorry, that was the episode playing. This is me looking at Dave Rubin videos with the phrase "go silent" or "go quiet" in the title. So there were a lot of complaints last week. Again, people complained to verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com that the main section was by far the shortest section of the whole video. Podcast, I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm calling it a video now. Oh, I should say about that. No, we'll get to that. So, yeah, it was a very short section. I mean, technically the main section was only 24 seconds. I mean, that's really not very much in a 56-minute video. That's less than 24 seconds, so it's half a minute, and that's less than... I had it, and then I lost it. You know what I mean? My brain sort of rejects numbers sometimes. That's why I'm like, is it episode 91? So if it's an hour, if it's half a minute, then it's 1/120th of an hour. So that's less than 1%. Yeah, so it's well under 1%. I think I did that right. So if well under 1%, I mean, the intro itself is 5 minutes, you know what I mean? And then the main section is 24 seconds. You know what I mean? And 1% is rounding up by a lot. It's probably 0.5% when you really get down to it. Could I do that actually? Actually, that's easy. 56 minutes. So, hold on. So 24 divided by 60 will give us the percentage. So it's 0.4. And then times 56. 0.4 times 56. 22.4. I didn't do that right at all. What am I doing? So I'm trying to figure out what... Oh, no. 24 over 60 will give us the total minute value that it is, right? So that's 0.4 of a minute. And then if it's 0.4 of a minute, it's half a minute. How much of 56 minutes is half a minute? It's not, it's 0.4, of a minute. So how much is, so 0.4 goes into 56. So 56 divided by 0.4 is 140. Meaning it's 1/140th of the video. Yeah, okay. If it's 1/140th of the video, no. Wait, 56 minutes. Hold on. It's point. No. Hold on. Wait. So it's 24. Oh, you know what I should do? So that's how many seconds are in the video. 3360. And then that main section was 24. This is how we should have done it. Divided by 24 equals 140. Yeah, that's the same thing. So it's 1/140th of the video. 1 divided by 140. Okay. So it's 0.7%. Okay. So it's less. I was right that it's less than 1%. Monica, can you edit out and I don't want another bread situation where you leave that in. So I'm going to be really clear. Can you edit out or fast forward or do one of your jump cuts? Okay? We've given you a chair to sit here while I'm recording, so I'm telling you to your face, please edit that out or fast forward that whole section, please. This is my polite voice. I'm being super polite right now, and I'm just asking and requesting that. So please edit that out. Okay. So when 0.7% of the video is the main section, the board tells me, then you have a problem. You know what I mean? And if you want to sit in that chair, you're gonna work on that problem. So we do have a surprise on that front today. Today is the main section episode. We're gonna have a lot of different main sections, and we're gonna make sure that we have it's a great time in that regard. But this was a pretty good main section, right?
Rare deer birth, anyone?
You know what I mean? People were definitely into that. With all due respect. Okay, but follow up of the last episode. So follow up to the follow up that was in the last episode. We talked about, we followed up on gun buyback programs. I was just thinking, and I made this comment to someone the other day, and I was like, I should put that on the podcast. The ultimate gun buyback program would be an international atomic bomb buyback program. We just put out, we put out a stand. We sit there and we go, hey, come on over, bring us your atomic bombs, and we will get rid of them, and you don't even have to worry about it. We'll pay you. You know what I mean? And we will destroy them. I am being funny, but I do also think that something like that is not crazy, and it's crazier to have nations have atomic bombs. But I am joking, but it's it's meant to make you think, because, what, I'm not supposed to say that? Okay. should I do a little horizontal integration? So I wanted to say I have actually been working a ton on a video. It's like a week after making a main channel video where I talked about, my thoughts on stuff and the political situation or potential political situation and like what it meant for personal choices in life. And I said in that video, it feels stupid to make YouTube videos. I've still had one or two long ones cooking for a while. And one of the things that I've worked on for, at this point, almost 3 years, I decided I was pretty much ready to finish it. And I worked for a lot of hours this weekend and wrote, and the script is, at this point, literally as long or longer than the Breaking Bad video script. So, and it's really, really good stuff. It's really, really good stuff. It's, if you're thinking like, what style? Is it about media? Is it about, it's my best thing to say would be it's in the style of, it's not something I've never done. It's going to hopefully be like an advanced version, like my best version of something I've maybe sort of, like techniques I've sort of used. But what I'm hoping is it's like the best of everything I've done with videos, and it integrates a lot of different approaches to investigating or, discussing a subject, and goes down so many rabbit holes. Like, it's so long in the most like fun way, I hope. And I'm really excited. It's going to be a wild thing to have to record all that. But once I do, the editing process is going to be very interesting for reasons you'll see. But okay, so that's that. And I hope you're excited about that. By the way, last podcast episode, the audio was kind of messed up. I think it was just a mic connection thing, but yeah, sorry about that. It was funny. I was looking up, this is the next segment. I was looking up the, that's just a note to myself when I do the time code later. It's like next segment, you know what I mean? I was looking up this video. Speaking of videos that I've made, years ago, I did a video on this commentator making a video, sort of not apologizing, but like responding to their critics about, the issue was about a commentator making, sort of almost stochastic sort of effects with their ideologies over years. And, they wanted to obfuscate the effects of their words. So they wanted to make this sort of response video where they were like, pretending like they hadn't really like riled people up against Muslims, and like pretended that they hadn't been like this like basically right-wing ideologue and stuff like that. So every now and then I'll go back to their video just to see if they've deleted it, where they like stand by all their stuff. And I looked at the comments and I saw myself in the comments, which I had forgotten that I had left this comment. So someone commented, the Christchurch shooter, that's what it was about. Her sort of like that his manifesto had the same name as one of her videos, and he like watched YouTube and stuff. The Christchurch shooter admitted he watched your white replacement video and it strengthened his views. Your weak stance to say, oh, some stuff in the past I said might have been problematic, but then do nothing to speak of the stronger arguments against what you're saying. Weak sauce from a right-winger who can't back up what they say. So this is someone like I agree with, right? You know what I mean? And I'm like, did he admit that? Like the person who committed that horrible like mass murder. Did he admit that in somewhere that's documented? I believe you, but I'd love a source. And this person responded, so why don't you search for one instead of expecting to be spoon-fed on a comment section? Like, this is, I mean, I'm sure they were having quite a bad day. Like, I believe this was after I made a video about the subject, right? So I had like looked up a lot of sources. Like, I mean, the closest I got to something like that was a New Zealand report on the event that discussed in depth. The guy had gone to YouTube and looked up these specific theories. Like, it's not like just they use the same title. Like, it was the same sort of conspiracy theory about Muslim and people of color in general, like taking over white people and like white people becoming the indigenous, the victimized indigenous people of their nations. Like literally chilling with people who were like, the Crusades were kind of chill, man. Like, it's just like, so this person comments claiming that the shooter specifically admitted he watched her video, which I had not found. I had just found a report saying he watched YouTube, and like, she was like the biggest person on YouTube talking about this. So it's not proof. It's just circumstantial evidence. And my whole point in my video was that should be enough for you to severely be sorry. But this person claims that the person admitted it explicitly, that he had watched her video. So I'm like, oh, did he admit that somewhere that's documented? I believe you, but I'd love a source. You know, I joke about how I might have a hard time like being polite or or being like, you know, like I can be like, you know, irrational sometimes, but like, come on. I'm being so polite, and they're like, so why don't you search for one? That's how you respond when someone asks you to just clarify? I'm being so chill. Okay, anyways, I just thought that was hilarious. Okay, next up. Oh yeah, this was funny. I was just watching this Majority Report like analysis of Bill Maher clip, because I love when they analyze Bill Maher clips. It's some of my favorite shit, because Bill Maher, to me, I was talking about this like with Dave Rubin, like when someone's like they spread incredibly harmful ideologies, and the fact that they present as less harmful probably makes them more harmful than an actual out and out like Nazi. Because in some capacities, like Bill Maher spreads a bunch of like, you know, anti-science rhetoric. He's extremely negative about like social change. His views on the protests in his industry were kind of weird. He's just wrong on like all the like sort of sexual harassment allegation issues. Like he's just very regressive and affects a lot more people. So probably does more harm than a Nazi. Same with potentially Dave Rubin, even though he's so irrelevant that might actually not be true. But Bill Maher, yeah, he has a lot of impact, but then he does this like funny, stupid podcast. And so I love when they watch it and analyze it. But yeah, just check this out. Just a very brief clip. They're talking about, you know, Bill Maher's talking about like what he thinks are like the, you know, the problems with like how the left wing have gone too far.
Do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous? Do you really think men can get pregnant? You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant.
So that's obviously Matt on the Majority Report saying, oh my God. Oh, sorry, I cut off the important clip.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant.
So, like he means trans man, right?
That's different than a man getting pregnant. And the way they like, sort of like insist on.
I mean, I just thought that was kind of weird. He's like, I understand a trans woman can get pregnant, and he just means trans man. Right? Like, because in some cases that might be the case. But I mean, trans women, as far as I know, not as often. Maybe in some ways I'm ill-informed, and maybe sometimes I would imagine, you know, anything is possible. I definitely believe that. But I do also believe he means trans man here, right? So it's just kind of funny for him to not have like that basic of a thing down. It's like 2024. He's interviewing Jane Fonda, and he doesn't actually even still, after how many times he's probably talked about trans people, he still doesn't understand how to talk about trans people in the most fundamental sense.
I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant.
Okay, good for you, Bill. That's good for you, I would say. And okay, so let's get on to the main sections. This is the main section episode. There was a murder, and this is sort of the murder of the week, I would say. Not making that a segment. I'm not making that a segment. Every time I say something, they're like writing it down. They're like, should that be a segment? No. This is how the desk section got all out of whack, which we reined it in. It's vitamins in the water. That's what my boss tells me, at least. I don't know. I think it's weird, but they're like, it's vitamins. And then they wink, and I'm like, did you just wink at me? No one else is here. And they're like, no, I did not. I'm sorry. I'm like, okay. Okay. So a healthcare company CEO was murdered. And I shouldn't say it's the murder of the week. I'm trying to spoof the sort of weird way that we as a culture will talk about things. But I'm not trying to spoof the murder. I mean, it's very concerning at the end of the day. It's very concerning. It's a symptom, as all violence is. It's a symptom of like much bigger problems. People don't just decide to premeditate and carry out and escape from an act like that. Obviously, without there being a lot of different causes influencing them to come to such an extreme conclusion. And I was just talking about a right-wing commentator influencing stochastic terrorism. And something like this is, you could see as something like that, And so at the end of the day, like, you don't want to talk about stuff like this in a way that incentivizes it, because you have to be very delicate. Like, you have to say, oh, I mean, like, that guy had a family, you know what I mean? Like, that guy had a family. I talked about Mike Ehrmantraut's murders and, killing the cops. Like, yeah, could you say it's justified? Sure. Is it good? Is it a net good? Does it make the world a better place? That's the sort of thing I talked about in my videos. Does something like this, make the world a better place? People have to but people are just so starved for a win. People are that starved for a win that they're looking for something to feel like it's, I don't know, to feel like their side is winning, when really, adventurous, solo, acts to harm people, it's I think very risky and very dangerous. And I mean, clearly, it's not going to make your healthcare plan better. I mean, it's just going to make healthcare CEOs get security, which is what this article is about. They remove photos of their leadership teams from their website. I didn't know CVS operated Aetna. What? That explains a lot. Thompson was killed in an attack police called targeted as he was about to enter the Hilton. I know that. I know. No known motive for the murder, but there must have been a motive, right? So yeah, the companies are removing the names of their executives. I mean, it doesn't that doesn't do anything. If someone's willing to commit a murder, they're willing to go through a few, Wayback Machine searches and a few, yeah. This healthcare sector in the last 18 months has explored new security measures as they encountered increased conflict and the potential for violent crime. Okay. Consumer frustration with health insurance in the U.S. has been high for years and led to the 2010 Affordable Care Act. This year, insurance companies have struggled to hold down costs. That's one way to put it. And have talked about their increased use of medical management, which includes making it more difficult to quickly receive coverage for services like surgery and medicines. Yeah, it means them managing whether you get medicine. Wow. So yeah, I think we should protest in different ways. I don't think stuff like this really helps, but the shooting has brought attention to increasing tension with the healthcare industry. That is definitely the case. That is a factual statement. Healthcare insurers do not provide details on their spending on security for executives and financial regulatory findings. Good to know. Apparently, according to Reuters reporting on the New York Post, there's a suspect. United Health is the largest U.S. health insurer, providing benefits to tens of millions of Americans who pay more for health insurance than people in any other country. Wow, that's a very strange sentence. It's about two different things. You know what I mean? Like, maybe this should be the first sentence of the article, actually. Huh. Okay. But yeah, it is, it is good to try to analyze things without saying whether they're good or bad explicitly. Next main section, we have appeals court upholds nearly $1.3 billion Sandy Hook verdict against Alex Jones. So this is from yesterday or 2 days ago. Connecticut appeals court on Friday largely upheld a nearly $1.3 billion defamation verdict against conspiracy theorist Alex Jones in a case accusing the InfoWars founder of spreading lies about the 2012 Sandy Hook mass shooting. Wow. They only found fault with a portion of $150 million, but they agreed that $965 million was a good damages amount for the harm that he inflicted on these suffering families by defaming them and spreading the most horrible lies for money. Because as this article notes, he said that the freaking shooting was staged with actors as a plan to seize guns from Americans. Yeah, because that happened. He's since acknowledged the mass shooting occurred, but plaintiffs said he cashed in. That's exactly my point. He cashed in for years. It's not even that crazy of an amount if you think about it. He cashed in for years lying about that. The shooting was in 2012. And The Onion purchased InfoWars, which is going to be decided tomorrow at a hearing in Houston, whether that goes through, because a losing bidder connected to Jones is challenging the sale. So, next main section, we have the chess desk. There was a decisive game this morning in Singapore. This is round 11 of 14, and it's been tied 1 win to 1 win and a lot of draws. But there was a decisive game. We have Gukesh playing the white side, and he beat Ding. So let's see how it happened. I love this opening. I do this type of thing. I do that exact thing. Because if they take, you just go like that. And then if they do this, you go like that. And then if they do that, you go like that. And then if they do that, you actually have an awesome position because they can't take. So that's obviously the grandmasters are not thinking about that, but I'm just explaining my theory. Wow, that's cool. Wow, that's cool. That's what happened in the game? Wait, are you kidding me? Whoa, B4 is a wild move here. Okay, yeah, this is, makes sense, though, logically. Okay, sort of transposing to a... Okay. Yeah, wow. Gukesh is willing to give their knights some good play here. Give Ding's knights some good play. Ooh, that's a good advanced pawn. Is that a sacrifice? No, because this knight would be hanging if the queen took. So, queen goes there. Bishop pins the knight. Ooh, wait, let's look at the analysis. Okay, it's still even. So the queen, oh, takes a piece. Queen takes back. Queen moves. Knight tries to maneuver, gives up a pawn in the process, but maybe is trying to get this pawn long term. Oh, wow, that's an interesting move. Yep, getting the pawn long term, probably. No? Getting something better. Gukesh is now in a very good dominant. Ooh, Ding makes a blunder, apparently. So Ding just needed to. Ding had one move. This is an only move. See how there's only one move that isn't losing? And, you know, if it's +1, +2. +1's no big deal. +2, +3. All these other lines are the best lines. The computer's showing you the 5 best lines, and only one of them does not result in a massive point differential. This means like 2.4 pawns, you could think about it. 3 is like a full piece. You're down a full piece. But like you're screwed at the grandmaster level if you're down 2 pawns. So it's like there's one move. It's a critical move is what's called a critical move. Sorry, I should have had it resized. And the critical move was knight b4, which is sort of right where the knight came from. So it's hard to find that move. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Black, knight b4. Never mind, sorry. That's actually pretty easy to find. I'm surprised he didn't play that because there you know your knight's just not going to be able to be taken. You're disconnecting the rooks. What are you worried about? Oh, you're worried about this, which is being attacked 4 times. Okay. So anyways, white gets a piece. Oh, the game ends on the spot. Wow, Ding realized he blundered in it and resigned on the spot. Wow. Oof, he had an only move. How much time did he have? He had 7 minutes. Oof, Ding. Come on, Ding. I love you. You're going to get it. You have 3 more games to win it. You're going to get it. Okay, I was told to go hood down for the rest of the video. Or the podcast. Stop calling it a video, dude. Okay, so next up, people can change. People can change, you know. People can change their mind. And people can change. You know, Biden can change his mind and Hunter can just say, I've turned over a new leaf. So, younger Biden pleaded guilty to tax violations and was convicted on firearms-related charges. But he's going to serve a little time. This doesn't mean he doesn't serve time, right? Today, I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being... So how did he keep... So because he let the conviction... He let the guilty pleas go through? Well, then you... Well, yeah, that's why he's not going to interfere with the consequences of that. Well, what does this mean exactly? The White House had said repeatedly that Biden would not pardon or commute sentences for Hunter. Well, the White House does not speak for Joe Biden. They are not connected in any way. A recovering drug addict who became a target of Republicans. That sort of passive voice is interesting because it makes it sound like these people were not attacking him. You know, it was kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of weird how they fixate on Hunter. And I would think that I would do that if I was a dad. I would do that. I just wouldn't first say that I wouldn't do it would be the thing. I would probably just be like, no, I'll probably do it. You know, he's my kid and I can't imagine not, you know. So I would probably admit that. Except it depends on the sentences, because if it was a few years in prison, I'd be like, dude, you fucked up. You're going to a few years in prison. I know that's not a big deal to go to a few years in prison. I'm not trying to say that's not a big deal. I'm just saying, depends on, I don't really know, you know, it seems like people make all these lofty claims about Hunter Biden being involved in, you know, massive international stuff. But I just think that's people who don't really understand all the evil shit Joe Biden's already doing. And, like, we don't need to worry about Hunter, honestly. I'm worried enough about Joe. People who have, like, a non-material way of understanding Joe Biden. Oh, my God, they use the photo of Joe Biden with the book. This is a famous... pro-Palestinian book. What's the name? I don't have it right in front of me. Hold on. Biden shown with Palestine book. Yeah, so this is a real picture of Biden carrying Rashid Khalidi's book, The 100 Years War on Palestine, with his son. And wow, it actually shows that. A history of settler colonialism and resistance. So he just has a book about the resistance to the, this, it's not an exaggeration. Biden single-handedly approves the funding of this genocide since October 7th. He comes out and says he's a Zionist. Even Trump and Harris wouldn't do that. Being a Zionist does not mean you believe that the Jews in Israel should be allowed to stay there. It means you think you believe in the Zionist project in Israel. And you believe in this expansion, and you believe in this massive over-tolerance of Israel's genocidal actions. And to be photographed, to say, yeah, give me that book. Let me walk outside with that book, Hunter. Okay, anyways. Next main section is this guy, Jay Lovestone, in the building. Born 1897, died 1990. That's a good long life. American activist, member of the Socialist Party, leader of the Communist Party, leader of a small opposition party, then anti-communist and CIA asset, and foreign policy advisor to the leadership of the AFL-CIO, the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations and National Trade Union Center. And wow. So I just thought this guy was interesting. He was attracted to socialist politics from his teens. He was at this person's funeral, American Socialist. Wait, why did he die? I mean, I know people die. I'm just 61. Where's the death? Skip to the death. Oh, never mind. Septic endocarditis. That's sort of not he was not executed by the state, probably. Right. So, during the early 20th century, so this guy, he just he became a communist, and he rose up, and then he had this whole thing where he sided with, Bukharin instead of Stalin, Bukharin. And so when Stalin purged Bukharin from the Soviet Politburo in 1929, then this guy, Lovestone, that guy, look at that old-fashioned mic, was asked to step down as party secretary in favor of his rival William Z. Foster, who has a long and storied tale that will be for another day. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know if this was traumatic for him. When he returned, he went to plead his case in the Soviet Union. I think. And yeah, he then made a different party, the majority group. Then when they weren't the majority group, they changed it to opposition. And then he, in 1944, he joined the AFL Union Committee. And then he worked with an organization sponsored by the AFL, which worked with internationally organizing free labor unions in Europe and Latin America. And you're thinking, that sounds good, right? Free labor unions? Which were not communist controlled. So in connection with that work, he cooperated closely with the Central Intelligence Agency, feeding information about communist labor union activities to James Jesus Angleton, an American intelligence operative who served as the chief of the counterintelligence department of the Central Intelligence Agency from 1954 to 1975. So a good solid 21 years of the head of counterintelligence. And that's a face that says, I'd like to counter that intelligence. So that means learning about the opposition, learning about communists. So they want this guy who is a communist, or, you know what I mean, or former, like a very pretty high up communist, to be affiliated with them and to tell them what the communists are up to. So he did it for a long time, provided intelligence to the U.S. government. He remained there until 1963, where he became director of the AFL-CIO's International Affairs Department, which quietly sent millions of dollars from the CIA to aid anti-communist activities internationally, particularly in Latin America, which, you know, could mean supporting fascists also. Obviously. Usually does. In 1973, AFL-CIO president discovered that Lovestone was still in contact with Angleton of the CIA, who was conducting illegal domestic spying activities despite being told 7 years earlier to terminate this relationship, from a book. Meany chose to force... he's a meanie. Chose to force Lovestone out by issuing an instruction which he knew Lovestone would not comply. Told him he had to close his office and stop his publication, but he could not move his 6,000 books, so he was dismissed. And that was his, deal. So that's an interesting life. You know what I mean? Saying, screw it, I'm going to just, tell the CIA everything. Because Stalin was a dick, So, yeah, Next main desk, team sports are important. Nikola Jokic breaking his record, getting a 56-point game, and his team losing to a team that hadn't won since October. So it's a team sport. Okay, next main section. Well, are these? I shouldn't make them too short, I guess. But I mean, that's not much to say. You know what I mean? That was the point. It's a team sport. That's all I had to say. Some fire data. Fire data shifts. Fire data. It's like I can say the word data if I say it with another word. You know what I mean? Fire data. It's just when I say it on its own, it's like, I don't want to accept the cookies. Fire data shifts human arrival in Tasmania back 2,000 years. So this is, I know we all heard about this like 3-4 weeks ago. Ancient pollen and charcoal remains uncovered from islands north of Tasmania, also known as Lutruwita. Should we do it? Should we do it, chat? I should do a stream or a podcast where I pretend I think I'm live streaming. That would be pretty funny. Lutruwitwab. Sorry. How to pronounce... Is that going to do it? I mean, this will say... Hold on. That's a Facebook video?
Really hard to build. I love my language, Palawakani, because we've worked really hard to build it and keep it strong. I love teaching my
Yes.
who is Ningi. Ningi, because Palawakani is a Camille Ningi.
She buys food.
Okay, I thought they were going to at least say the word. That's okay. That is fine.
Lutruwita.
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 Lutruwita. Okay. Ancient pollen and charcoal remains uncovered from islands north of Lutruwita suggest that... Wait, and what is Lutruwita? Actually. It's just another name. It's the indigenous name, I assumed. Yeah. Palawakani is a constructed language created by the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre as a composite Tasmanian language based on reconstruction. Okay, we're getting off track. Fire data suggests that human fire management practices were happening in the region 41,600 years ago. You can't get a little more specific, please? This predates the oldest archaeological evidence of people in Tasmania by roughly 2,000 years. Yeah, I was going to say about 2,000 years is that about 2,000 years predating the oldest archaeological evidence? The study published draws on 2 sediment records in the Bass Strait. Boosh. Okay. 2 mud cores, one 3 meter deep and the other 4 meter deep. Okay. Well, that's cool. Next main section. US FDA cited animal lab at Musk's Neuralink. That's Elon Musk, the billionaire, for objectionable conditions. So his animal lab, objectionable conditions. What? You're telling me a billionaire can't start a brain chip company anymore? And a woke cancel culture mob wants to be like... An animal testing laboratory at Elon Musk's Neuralink brain technology company was found to have, quote, objectionable conditions or practices by the Food and Drug Administration, which is, by the way, the woke mob, which cited the company and urged it to address the problems very wokely. FDA inspectors identified the issues at Neuralink's animal testing facilities in California in June 2023, several weeks after the agency had given the company the green light for a small study of its brain implant in humans. So that maybe the FDA should be funded a little bit better because they seem a little confused. Why do you maybe you should do that first. Assess the situation. The issues found at Neuralink, the FDA told the House Democrat the issues found at Neuralink warranted voluntary remediation measures by the company. They were not considered severe enough to require regulatory action by the agency. While the company, okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, while the company did receive citations related to documentation of its animal research, the FDA inspection did not find any evidence. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's probably, yeah, I mean, they might not be like, doing anything explicitly like horrible, like in that sense. It's more the process. It's more like what is this technology going to lead to that I'm worried about. But Reuters reported in February that FDA inspectors had found problems with quality controls and record keeping at Neuralink's lab. FDA declined to say whether these were the same conditions. Neuralink did not respond about whether it had fixed the problems. The House Democrat didn't respond. Okay, Musk has been tasked by President-elect Donald Trump with slashing government spending at federal agencies such as the FDA. Great! So glad that the agency investigating one of his companies periodically, and probably his companies are involved with many investigations because they're huge companies. And he's in charge of controlling that. That sounds like oligarchy, actually, to me. I believe that is the technical definition of oligarchy. But he's not Russian. It's not like he's Russian or something, you know what I mean? So how could it be oligarchy, is what I'm saying. His new quote-unquote department may help insulate his own companies from regulation or enforcement and boost their government support, Reuters reported last month. So that doesn't sound great. So next main section is kind of old. It's about a crime app called Citizen, which is just so wild. I just didn't really know about this. It's like a crime alert app where they have like paid features and stuff where you can get access to a live safety agent when you're in a stressful or uncertain. I mean, it's just like such a bad, like these sorts of privatized solutions to like public problems just scare me so much. Like Citizen uses crowdsourced content and police scanner traffic to notify users in the U.S. of local incidents. It's been criticized for promoting vigilantism, particularly after it posted a $30,000 reward to find a man wrongly suspected of arson in May. Like, what are you doing? The new feature called Protect can monitor subscribers' location if they feel unsafe or connect them through video or text with a Citizen employee who can escalate calls to 911 or first responders. Look, like that's like a feature I could imagine some people needing, but that being something a lot of people use is just inherently going to mess it up. Like this is not supposed to exist. The app originally launched in 2016 under the name Vigilante. Again, this article is like 3 years old. That's just so funny. They changed the name from vigilante to citizen. They're like, oh, we should hide that we're promoting vigilantism. Yes. We should. Right. Okay, next main section. Exxon lobbyist investigated over hack and leak of environmentalist emails, sources say. So this is just 2 weeks ago. Sources told Reuters in an exclusive that an Exxon lobbyist was investigated over hacking and leaking of environmentalist emails. FBI has been investigating a longtime ExxonMobil consultant over the contractor's alleged role in a hack and leak operation that targeted hundreds of the oil company's biggest critics, hundreds of its critics. According to 3 people familiar with the matter, they have a counterintelligence agency. The operation involved mercenary Exxon is bigger than some countries, I'm sure. The operation involved mercenary hackers who successfully breached the email accounts of environmental activists and others. The sources told Reuters a scheme Reuters doesn't just report this shit, you know what I mean? The scheme allegedly began in late 2015 when U.S. authorities contend that the names of the hacking target. By the way, I always show Reuters if I'm trying to talk about a serious subject because I believe it's one of the most well-trusted sources. You could do AP News too. If you're trying to convince someone from the right wing of something, you should show them Reuters, I think. Let me know what you think about that. Some environmental activists interviewed by Reuters say the hacking operation disrupted preparations for lawsuits by cities and state attorneys general against Exxon and other energy companies. Those lawsuits were modeled on litigation against the tobacco industry in the mid-1990s, which resulted in a watershed settlement and sweeping restrictions on cigarette sales. The stolen materials continued to be used today to counter litigation claiming the oil giant misled the public and its investors about the risk of climate change. As recently as April, an industry trade group that had been receiving funding from Exxon cited one of the hacked documents, an internal memo sketching out the proposed litigation strategy of the environmentalists, in an effort to get the Supreme Court to quash a lawsuit filed by the city of Honolulu against Exxon and other energy companies. So they're trying to show the court, hey, the environmentalists were going to sue us, so you should sue this city's action against us. Probably because it's they're saying it's biased. Exxon Chevron asked U.S. Supreme Court to toss ruling. They say the suit is preempted by federal law. Okay, well, yeah, they're just trying to support their case however they can. Stolen material. Exxon says it has not been involved in or aware of any of hacking activities. Yeah, okay. Calling these conspiracy theories. Reuters could not determine whether Exxon itself has also been the subject of the FBI investigation. DCI, yeah, okay. The leaks, so they just leaked them. Oh yeah, it was in an effort to push a narrative that Exxon was the target of a political vendetta. So to prove that they're the target of a political vendetta, they hacked and leaked information from their opponents. They provided the names. This other company, public affairs and lobbying company working for Exxon, provided the names to an Israeli private detective who then outsourced the hacking, according to the source. Wow. Something needs to, I think we need a little bit more regulation going on, right? How is a company allowed to do that? Okay, and that's all the main sections, right? I mean, that's really all the main sections that's fit to print. So, okay, well, I guess it's time for the musical interlude. It's been holding that there the entire time. I'm not allowed to tune this, they said. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so some musical interlude. Next up, the desk section. Remember, everything is either art or politics. First, we have an art desk. Museum returns 2 colonial-era statues stolen from Indonesia. Sorry, I gotta stop doing that melody. I don't know. It just comes out, you know what I mean? Sorry. Can I turn some lights on? Whoa! Donna, can I turn some lights on without my chair falling over? Jesus Christ. I need someone to hold my chair now? Rotterdam City Council has handed back 2 Indonesian statues that were stolen during the Dutch colonization of Bali in the 19th century. Wow. It's about time. Statues have been on display at the World Heritage Museum, Wereldmuseum, Rotterdam, were formerly handed over along with 66 smaller objects to Indonesia's ambassador. The Singa statues were taken from a palace in 1894. They were included in a collection of more than 300 objects seized during a military expedition in Bali. An expedition makes it sound like a vacation. Thousands of islanders, of people, that's another word for people, were killed in a series of bloody revenge attacks that began when local residents helped themselves to the contents of a stranded ship. Oh. When they took objects, they were massacred. It was a colonial massacre. Wow. The art was never ours. By giving these back, the artworks, we can put right what we did wrong in the past. That is first of all, there should be an end quote, I guess, if not, if it continues. But that's a little bit ambitious. We can put right what we did wrong in the past. Shouldn't you be like, we can never really do right what we've done in the past, but this is only the smallest we could do? Like, he just woke up. They called him. He's like, no, we'll make it right. Okay. Oh, around half of the 375,000 objects in the collection of the museum, around half of them have a colonial connection. Next, art desk. Remember, this is art, not politics. Berlin faces backlash over proposed cuts to culture budget. Berlin's plan to cut its cultural budget by $130 million, a reduction of around 13%, has sparked a wave of opposition from the city's art workers. More than 450 publicly funded institutions, including galleries, theaters, and music venues, are now protesting the budget cuts under the campaign Berlin is Culture, The Guardian reports. Cultural workers warn the move could lead to closures and layoffs, destabilizing the German city arts infrastructure in the long term. Around 170 museums and more than 400 galleries in Berlin, and they're planning for a dark future because one space would lose, for example, 50% of its funding, potentially, or could. The government is proposing to cut the budget from €110 million to €150 million. German arts workers expect that the measure is part of a broader austerity effort by the city's government. Or they could just raise taxes on the rich. Okay, next, art desk. Again, this is art, not politics. Artist Frida Toranzo Jaeger says her views on Palestine caused her to lose funding in a show in Germany. Frida Toranzo Jaeger, an artist whose work appeared prominently in this year's Venice Biennale. Venice Biennale, it's like the most prestigious art thing, said that her pro-Palestine views cost her an exhibition in Berlin and a $19,000 stipend associated with it. Yeah, that's a lot for artists. No, that's a lot of money. I'm just saying. The stipend was awarded to her earlier this month. Like, people should just have, healthcare, living wage. She probably does. And where's she from? Is she from Germany? Anyways, not long after she was named a winner of the stipend, the funding and the associated show were canceled by the foundation and the museum in a state. $19,000 would be a lot to me too. I wasn't saying it's not a lot of money. I was just saying, for someone who's in the Venice Biennale, you would think, I don't know. I guess that's a lot of money. Okay, what am I saying? But anyways, after being named in a statement to social media, the foundation and the museum said they had learned that she signed a letter circulated by the Strike Germany movement, which urges artists not to work with art institutions that police the politics of their artists, specifically those with pro-Palestine views. And then the museum and the foundation said that if the artist stood by her signature, it would imply the museum and the foundation also agree they will not do it. Yeah, so it means you can only work with organizations that would also agree with the pro-Palestine views. So they both agreed, okay, fine. And then they both went their separate ways. Wow. So these institutions just can't find it within themselves to say, 45,000 citizens murdered by this Israel response to a terrorist attack. Seems kind of excessive. Seems potentially war criminal, genocidal. So that is the end of the art desk, and that was a nice art desk where we talked about art, and I like that. And that's the desks section. That's the desks. Okay, and next, we're going to get out of here soon. Let's do the patron shout out and the member shout out. I like to give you all a lot of recognition. I'm supposed to do that. Starting on Patreon, thank you, Icelac. Thank you, Helena. Thank you, Minus. Thank you, MT. Thank you, Caleb. I'm not going to say thank you every time. Emily, Miranda, Ruben, HP, Ibnomad, Oliver, MK, Matt, Scott, X, Noah, Anastasios, Linguist, Sam, King, Margot, Tom, Stephanie, Verbal Gerbil, Hugh, Donovan, Redgrove, Elemancy, Platinum Sarge, Rabid Dog 008, Jen, Ian, Russ, Irene, MJ, Gal45er, Swit, Ryan, Madeline. I think these people all give me money. John, Mr. Moxie, Brent, Kyle, Ashley, Jack, Scott, Luca, Gunther, Thulusaurus Rex, Miles, and User. And thank you so much, y'all. And on the YouTube, Ibnomad here as well. Do you realize you're giving me money on both sides? Thank you. Jasmine, Matthew, Simply Snaps, Eva, Sadie, Jifa, Jaden, Trusty Ghost, Hollow Moon, Pit and Happening, 39% Weird. And that's all. And, okay, so that was fun. Good stuff. And let's check the mailbag before I get out of here. The good old-fashioned verbal journal podcast at gmail.com. Yep, Google wrote me. Security alert, a new sign-in. We noticed a new sign-in on your Google account. If this was you, you don't need to do anything. If not, that's not. I don't need to. Okay, I also, I have a page where I get social emails. Someone subscribed to me on YouTube. I know. Yeah, we're up to like 128. It's pretty amazing. Great. So that was it. Well, I had a good time, and that was, I think that was a, good time, and, I looked good doing it. So, one day we'll do another podcast, which will be probably next week. And until then, goodbye.
This is a podcast or something like that.